BIA 23 porn artist, Jaclyn Rainey. She has a few things to say, and I don't remember who's first. I think it's Wayne, right? So once you were done, Wayne will go for you first.
I was just going to say a little more about myself. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and used to go to camp in Kansas, actually, all growing up. And so it's nice to be back. And then I went to Eastman for undergrad, studied with Peter Curout, and went to the New England Conservatory for grad school and studied with Jamie Somerville and Gus Sebring. And then been all over the place. Music is a wonderful thing. It can take you anywhere. I've had jobs in Naples, Florida, New Orleans, Atlanta, LA. I've played in Boston and Chicago. You know, you never know what's gonna come down the pike or where you're gonna get to go, or like fun places you'll get to visit and experience with an orchestra. So this will be pretty casual. Like if I say anything that doesn't make sense, feel free to like raise your hand, or if you have any questions about anything at all, just feel free to go ahead and ask. So, all right, want to start? What's your name again?
Wayne.
Okay. What are you playing today?
I'm going to be playing Marceau de Concert by Saint Saëns.
Do you want an iPad so you don't play off your phone? Okay, I was going to say your eyesight must be so much better than mine.
You want to offer? We have it right here.
I have a recent Marceau de Concert.
Yeah.
Imagine we don't have it. I did that one.
Did you think this was
I have
right?
it. Remind me who it's by?
Sorry.
Saint Saëns.
Yeah.
I just signed up for the Masterclass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna play the whole thing or just the first of it?
Just the first.
Okay. Anybody on the planet, you know, play circles around all these 6'5" guys, you know, whose lungs are like the size of the dump truck. So, you know, doesn't matter what size your lungs are, you just really, really need to use them. So I would venture to guess that your lungs are bigger than mine because you're taller. So we're gonna work on breathing a few different ways. So what I tell my little kids. I'm like, you gotta look like Santa Claus when you breathe. They're like, does anybody remember the Octo Mom? Probably dating myself because I'm old. She had like 8 kids out to here. Yeah, that's what you want to look like when you're breathing. So I want you to just take a few deep breaths. Just put your hand on your stomach, and no reason to be embarrassed. We should all look like Santa when we breathe and get ready to play our horn. So just really good deep breaths. Really full deep breaths. It would be the best if you can yawn while you're doing it, because then that means that your throat is also relaxed. So I'll do it with you. Just like, I want to hear you breathing more. I want you to, when you exhale, kind of sound like Darth Vader-y. No. So right now, kind of turn and watch yourself. Stand up and look in the mirror. This mirror is very helpful. I want you to turn to the side, and I want you to see your hand pushing out every time you inhale. And I don't want, okay, so I'm just going to do, can I touch your shoulders? My teachers used to do this to me. He's a very large man. He would come push his elbows on your shoulders really hard so you couldn't have them go up when you breathe. Okay, I don't see your hand moving at all. A little better. Okay, you have to breathe with a lot of energy. So if we're just like that thing's not small. Like, we're not playing a clarinet. Like, the clarinet can like just take a teeny tiny breath and play for 3 lines. Like that is a large hunk of metal, and we want to make sure we're taking a lot of breath. So up here, try to really stick your stomach out. So this is something really good to practice for everybody. Like, I still do it every morning. Like, does anybody, you guys had teachers tell you to do breathing exercises? Raise your hand. So my teachers used to tell me that too. No one gave me a breathing exercise. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I don't know. You know, you didn't know what to do. So now there are a lot of like breathing books. I think the breathing gym is a big popular thing. I think there's one just called the breathing book. I just have a piece of paper that's been copied from friends that studied with Gail Williams. It's just one sheet. It has exercises to do. I can send that to you. But ooh, let's do some. So I didn't bring my phone, but I'll snap for like a metronome kind of thing. So the ones that she does, you can sit if you want. So the exercises that Gail has, they all have a different metronome marking, and you breathe in for so many beats and out for so many beats. Do the metronome on your phone. My snapping is kind of weak. So we put it on 72. Yeah, we can all do these together. So the first one on Gail's sheet is you breathe in for 1 and out for 3 on this sheet. And she usually likes to do the hand across your mouth, so you can really hear the inhale. So I'll count to 3 and then we will start. So in for 1 and out for 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll stop with that one. So ideally, she wants you to do them either 16 or 32 times, each one of these different exercises. And I always tell my kids, like, if you're feeling lightheaded, you're doing it correctly. And you really want to use some energy. I like visual things kind of help me with stuff. When I'm playing, and especially doing breathing exercises, try and like pick a spot on the wall in front of you and think that you're trying to get your air to reach that spot. And it seems like a silly thing, but it's actually really helped me, like in performances. If a lot of orchestra pieces, the whole orchestra drops out. It's just the one horn player by yourself, and instead of thinking, oh no, I'm playing a solo, all this stuff. I kind of like pick a light somewhere in the back of the hall and just stare at it and just focus on blowing my air there. And if I could just pay attention to that, sooner or later the solo's over and I didn't get nervous and freak good to have, I like to have something to look at, because usually if you look at the conductor, that's not always the most comforting feeling that you're getting from their face, so, it's good to look somewhere else. We're gonna do a few more of these just to kind of give you all an idea. We put it at 152. So this next one is faster. You put it on 60 or just 1 beat. Either way. Yeah, that's right. So this one is faster. It's in for 1 and out for 6. Seems like not that big of a difference. It's kind of it. So you want to make sure this is teaching you to take a quick breath, and we want to make sure that we are inhaling or exhaling the entire 6 beats. So in for 1, out for 6. I'll count to 6 and we'll start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, stop it out. So that one took a little more energy. Probably feeling a little lightheaded, hopefully. If you're not, you're not doing it energetically enough. So this next one is the one that really gets you to feel lightheaded. We don't want anybody to pass out, so start to feel in the danger zone of falling out of your chair. Stop. So you put it on 120. So this one is in for 1 and out for 1. Yeah. So they get slower after this. Okay, so I'll count off 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we'll start. So in for 1, out for 1. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, we'll stop. You get the idea. We started to slow down. It's really helpful to turn metronome up as loud as you possibly can. Just try and do that. Turn it on 80. Okay, so we'll do 2 slower ones to bring everybody's heart rate down. So, let me turn it off for a minute. Like I said, I do these every day, and oftentimes if I'm gonna play something a little more challenging at work, like Rite of Spring or Mahler or something where you're just gonna have to blow your brains out, like I start doing these twice a day a few weeks before, and if I'm getting ready to do like an audition for an orchestra job, I'll do these at the beginning. I like to split my practicing up because I can't pay attention for like 3 hours at a time, so I do 3 different hours, but I will do these exercises at the beginning of each hour just to remind myself, because if you can really get the air doing work for you, your face is not going to get tired nearly as quickly. And these muscles are really small and they will give out on you. You cannot rely on them. Yeah.
What are the tempo markings for that? For the 3, the 6, and the 1?
The first one at 72,
Okay.
and then so that's the in for 1, out for 3.
Yeah.
The second one is 152, in for 1, out for 6. The 1 in, 1 out is 120.
Okay.
And these last 2 are going to be at 80. And these just kind of help bring our heart rate down a little bit. So we will do in for 2, out for 4. And these are slower, so you want to make sure that you can exhale the entire 4 beats. And usually in the first 2, you're like running out of air around beat 3, so you want to make sure that you're taking a really big inhale. So this one will be in for 2 and out for 4. So I'll count to 4 and we'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4. want to make sure that you're inhaling the entire 4 beats. That does not mean to like take a smaller breath and just drag it out over 4 beats. We still want to take the big breath. You know, and these exercises are helpful because, you know, when you're playing a piece of music, sometimes you have all the time in the world to take your big, slow, relaxed breath before you come in. Most of the time you don't, you know, so you have to get used to taking different speeds of breath. So this is in for 4 and out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. And that concludes my breathing tangent of the morning, but I find these exercises helpful. I like to have something written out. I like to have an exercise that someone's told me to do because I'm not overly creative. Yeah.
When you're doing these, are you thinking about maintaining like the embouchure during the breath in, breath out, or just breathing in?
No, just trying to get as much air in and out as you can. Has anyone worked with an Inspirex, a full blue thing with the ball?
Yeah.
In it? That would be a time that I would work on, you know, whenever there's a mouthpiece involved. But I think, you know, especially working on just getting in a large amount of air, it's good to just be as relaxed as you can. I mean, you might make a little bit of an embouchure just because it's habit, but yeah. Okay, so now, you should take the biggest breath you can possibly take, but I want you to think that your body's going to explode because you've taken in so much air, and think about breaking this mirror behind you because you're using so much air. You just do like the first phrase or two. But big, huge breath. And if it doesn't look like you've taken a big, huge breath, I'm going to stop you. Okay, this is great. Your sound is already much bigger than it was the first time. This is what we're going for. Just want to have a huge, huge sound with a ton of air behind it. So this piece, you're playing all the right rhythms, all the right notes. What else can we add to this to kind of jazz it up a little bit?
It's hard to feel it.
Accents are good. I think your articulation in general is good. We don't want to get too much tongue because that's going to interfere with your air. What about dynamics? So, you know, you start off, well, this da 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 da. Basically, whenever anything is repeated, that's a rhythm or, you know, sometimes pieces just repeat the same thing 85 times. Try and make it different. So, bum bum ba 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 ba, like make a big crescendo through that. You know, and think of your landing point being the downbeat of the measure after those 2 measures. Huge, huge breath. Okay, is that the loudest you could possibly play? Yes, that was so much better. And, you know, with the dynamics and everything, it sounds better and it also makes you sound super confident and like, oh, this is no big deal. Like, I'm going to do all these fancy things with my solo. So the volume you play, like your loudest volume in that, try and make that your new, that's your new piano for a while. You know, because getting used to using a lot of air, you know, it's something to get used to, and like getting used to playing really loud. You just have to practice it. It's gonna sound bad. You're gonna sound like an elephant, like giving birth in the jungle or something, because you know it's just you're gonna miss notes. It's not gonna sound good, but you will eventually build up the control and the stamina over it. That's just gonna become the new normal. You know, we want you to have like the biggest sound, if you've got a cool part in band or something, you can just let it rip and soar over everybody else. You know, because the trumpets usually play louder than us because they point the right way. So you need to be able to just be like, no, this is my moment, and just plow right over them. You know, and the other thing to think about, we point the wrong way, so we have to try twice as hard. So, you know, whole lot of air. We try from the beginning one more time, and we'll keep going. And try and overdo the dynamics, but most importantly, the air. Yes, I love the sound that you're getting right now. That's good. I like the amount of air. It could still, we could always do more. There's a trumpet player in Boston Symphony. He was teaching a masterclass to all of us once, and he asked, like, asked somebody, like, are you doing all you can? And they said, well, yeah. He's like, well, you should quit, because you're never going to be able to do enough. Like, he's a little harsh, but, you know, you just want to try and always be trying to do more, you know, because you never, you know, even my teachers are in their 60s, they're all still trying to get better and fix certain things. It is an ongoing battle, so we just want to always try and use a lot more air. Let's work on this, let's just do that first measure of that, and let's go a little slower, and I want you to crescendo down to the lower note. So a lot slower, like da-da-da-da. Okay, that C, was that louder or softer than the note before it? Yeah, try and have that C be the loudest note you play. That was better. Can you try it one more time? Do you have any idea why I want you to play the lower note louder? Does anybody have a guess?
Because it's harder to hear lower pitches.
Yes, it does not carry as far. And it kind of, you know, if you could really dig it out, it would sound cool too. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone. Like really, really exaggerate it. Like the way that we have to play things in an ensemble or by yourself for it to carry out to an audience member sitting like 100 feet out there, you know, you have to like really, really exaggerate things. So. You know, try and just really, really dig into that C. And you could try and throw your thumb down if you want, but I don't think you need to. You get your thumb down faster if you're going to use it. It's better with the thumb, but not with the air. Try and put it together. Yeah. So try it without the thumb right now. It might mess you up just because the whole measure. Yeah. That's better. Can you stop on the C and hold it and try and get it really loud when you're there? Yeah, minus the little gravelly part, that's what we want when we get there. Can you try that one more time and try and just land on that sweet spot? Yeah, so this is something to work on. Like, I'll be honest, low notes are not my favorite. They're, you know, it's an everyday battle. So these are good things to practice. You know, like I said, I like things written out. Has anybody heard that Quality Tones app? So I think, I don't know. If you have to pay for it, don't get it. But it basically just, probably should've said that. But you know, that app will just, it gives you a new note like every 30 seconds. It'll be like an E in the staff, play it short and soft, or like an F below the staff, loud one exercise that is like, I'm into simple things. So one exercise that might be good is just to do octaves down, because, so you're really comfortable like in the staff, as most of us are. So try and just do a slur down, don't use, we'll just do it on the F side. Have a real messy slur down there so that we know our buzz is working, and just peel the paint off the wall with that low C. Okay, so I have to take a big breath for it. We're just doing a C down to a C. Okay, you do no thumb on the top just because we want it real messy. You get more junk on the way down and a louder lower note. Yes, so when we are working on getting the lower note louder, doesn't mean play the higher note softer. That's better. Now do, we're just gonna keep going now by half steps. Try and get that lower note louder. Yeah, try B flat. Yeah, so this is a simple thing, like if you just did, you know, start on C, go down to like F. You can, I mean, you can go as low as you want, but just a simple exercise like that, that would take no more than 2 minutes of your day, and if you really work on it, that's gonna pay off a lot. I am all about like practice the most efficiently in the least amount of time, and that would be a good thing to do. I mean, basically anything that'll make you play in that range, because you're just not as comfortable with where your bass needs to be to kind of get that buzz on the lower octave. It's just one of those things. It's really easy to avoid the things that we're not so good at, but learn from me. It all comes back around. Like, I didn't fix my low range in college because I was like, I don't need to do that. I'm going to be a high horn player. It comes back all the time. It's incessant. So, you know, fix it now. It's going to be easier to fix now while you can. And you've got time to spend on it. Yeah, but so that would be how I would practice that little measure. Yeah, but you sound great. Work on the air. You could just blown a hole in the wall behind you all the time. Great job. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name? What are you playing?
I'm playing, we'll see what I don't know yet. I've got a couple of options, I just don't know which one. I'm playing excerpts.
Wow. One of those guys.
Can I start with, so you want to speak?
Yeah. This is a great excerpt because it shows a wide range and will be on every audition till the day we all die. So it's good to really get it nailed down. So first thing, just because we were talking about air, so you start soft in the beginning, which is correct. You take a smaller or a bigger breath when you're it was the same kind of thing. I didn't see much happening. I wish I had taken a video of it once, because it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I was playing in the Boston Symphony like 8 years ago, and the utility player there, he was probably like, he wasn't 6 feet tall, but like, he was sitting over here next to me. He started to take a breath, and I swear his whole body expanded. I mean, it was, I will never not see that in my brain. So it's not just your stomach that needs to go. I mean, his whole body, but it started at the bottom. It's kind of like when you like fill up a glass of water. You know, it starts at the bottom and then goes up. That's what you want to think for your big deep breaths. Also, for soft stuff, it sounds better and more full when there's a lot of support behind it. I had always been told to think of your lungs as like a gas tank. You never want to be below half, because that's when the sound starts to suffer and all that stuff. So let's just do the first, like, let's just go till here. But just because you're playing soft, you still got to take a huge breath. I like the air. You still have the first one be soft, but it's a little louder. So softer does not mean less air. Yeah, that was better. So we want to have that much air at the beginning. That was good, because, you know, in the orchestra, you're by yourself in this, or if you're playing an audition, you're by yourself. So you want to have a really round, full sound, even if you're playing soft. Because if you play like as soft and small as you can, if the committee asks you again to play it softer, you're going to be in trouble. Because then, you know, you'll get into like trying to play it softer and then nothing will come out. I think we've all had those moments. I know I have. So that's good for the beginning. All right, so what is your plan with the pacing of this, like, tempo wise?
I want to be at tempo on the D sharp.
Yes, that is a good plan. I would not speed up the second call. You know, when you do it with a group, conductors all have their own. Eventually you'll have to do what they want. But this rhythm is really tricky. That's another reason it's on every audition. So I would recommend just keeping it directly in time. You were close, but we kind of started pushing ahead a little bit. So let's just try the first call at the beginning to end. Good. Two things. Are there any different articulations on any of these notes, or are they all the same?
There's staccatos, accents, and then there's a C with no.
Okay. We need a lot more of the accents. You really want those to stick out. You want, like, the grandma on the top of the last balcony with no hearing aid batteries working to know that you accented those notes. Try the whole thing again. Good. Let's just try the like 5 notes that have the accents. Yeah, can you get more front on the D sharp? Yeah, that's good. So we want that to be like, we want that zing on those notes, because then it's, you know, when you get into an audition setting, everybody's pretty much going to play the right notes and theoretically the right rhythms. Things that are going to set you apart from other people is like really doing the accents or really doing all the dynamics. You know, it's not, most of the time it's not even half horn players on a committee. And, you know, a clarinet player, and especially you. I mean, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. They just want to cut you for any reason. So you just want to make sure you're doing every single thing on the page. So the accents are good. One other thing I think you could do, you do a much bigger crescendo on the way down. Like especially think of aiming to that C, the first one, and then, you know,
Like sustaining it first.
if you can.
And so it should reach for the C here on the first one as well as C.
Yeah, I just think it shows that you're really comfortable if you, because a lot of people, it's really easy to be like, oh no, we're going down below the staff. I'm just going to go in my little turtle shell and not play very loud. I think it really shows that you are unafraid. You can just crescendo on the way down. Just do. Good. Sorry, but try and really land on that C. Obviously, but alright, that's what I did.
Same plug?
Yeah. Okay, don't worry so much about the crescendo up to the A.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you want a little bit, but try and save it more for the end. Yeah, that was great. Have that be like the minimum amount of soft you played on it. That was really good volume in there. I think you could do even more. I mean, everybody's different. You know, I'm one to talk. You know, not gonna be honking that out too loud, but just really kind of work on going down. Also, a good way to practice this. It sounds really weird. Practice it backwards. Like, just play the low C, just by itself. Yeah, so try and get 3 in a row with a really good articulation. Okay, now try and go low C up to G. Good, now add the C above that. Try and get them all even. Good, now try and just do the da-da-da-da. So just start on the C and the staff. Da-da-da-da-da. Try and not have so much space in between the 3 low notes. Yeah, that low note, that low C was great. That's the best one you've had. So, kind of fiddle with it. Like, if you listen to recordings, some people have a big amount of space in between those low notes. You don't have to do that. Like, plenty of people, you know, I'm down, when I get there, I'm like, okay, good, the notes are coming out. I'm just going to keep the air going, because the minute you start adding space, you have to, like, restart everything for each note. And obviously, you want a tongue, but, you know, I just think having a freight train of sound all the way down to the bottom is a good way to do it. Okay, try this first call from beginning to end, and we'll move to the second one. Keep going. Okay, our rhythm on this is close.
Yeah.
So where do we think the problem is?
The D sharp.
Yes, so we're kind of putting one way to practice this, it's really annoying, but it really helps, is to break this into 3 segments and focus to where the downbeats are, because, you know, like a committee is just gonna be say they're tapping 1, 2, 1, 2, you know. So this first little chunk. So we stop on the C because that's on a big beat. Da, 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 da. Don't rush the first 3 notes, but the rest of it is okay. Do this segment and subdivide the D sharp. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that was better. Now take out the subdivision. Okay.
I moved earlier.
Yeah. Okay, so the D sharp, you're doing what everybody does. The D sharp's a little too long. So, I'll be honest, I spent an entire Christmas break once just playing this at like half speed, just playing all the 8 notes. It drove my family insane. But, you know, it's just one of those things, once you get it figured out, it works. So this segment thing works, just have the metronome on. The next segment would be, you start on that G. Yeah, that was better. And then, you know, the last one is just yeah. So, slow practice. Play the subdivisions on that D sharp. That'll keep you from having it be too long. But, I mean, you're nailing the hard part. Usually the low notes don't come out for people. You get there like da 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 da. But you're doing that just fine. So yeah, just focus on the rhythm and you'll be good to go. Yeah, sounds great. Oh, we could maybe do it in the afternoon. Hi. What will you be playing today?
Unfortunately for all of you, I'm going to be playing the lyrical teacher.
That was funny.
Is everybody playing that this week?
No, I played in the last Masterclass.
Oh, thank you.
freedom depending on the solo. So the reason I asked that is because the beginning of this, it doesn't say it, but it's kind of like the cadenza, basically, because there's not much going on. So, you know, it's impressive because you're getting all the notes and everything, but I think you could really do more with it. Like, you know, I'm sure you could listen to 10 different recordings and hear it in 10 different ways. I like to kind of copy different things for different people. But I think it might be nice to kind of experiment with starting off slower, like, you know, go faster when it's more comfortable. And it'll be making it a little easier for you. You could go slower on the low stuff, but it's going to sound really musical, so it's kind of like a win-win thing. I just want you to play with it more because you're playing it well, but I think you can like go for it a little more. So big, huge breath. Let's just try that first a little bit. I mean, like really slow, like obnoxious. Like, I don't know. It used to be a big thing that Maria Louisa Neunecker recording of this. She just stretches. Who's that? Try just this last little bit. And don't slow down right until the end. Like even more. I'm gonna play all the notes. Just try it, because you took time before, and you kind of want to make it back up later. So try to speed up a little bit on your way up. That was good. I like the pacing after you get louder. Yeah, that was better. Now try from the very beginning. This is good. Another idea for you. You know, you could take a little bit of time right here and take a breath. So, you know, this is your moment. Let me tell you, you don't get many of them. There's usually a conductor or somebody telling you what to do. So if you have a moment to just, you know, you could do something different every time if you want, you know, but just really try and, yeah. And I think that breath would help the crescendo on the second little phrase too. So this is good. Like the beginning here. So when you start the big, did the dynamics change at all?
Not enough.
Yeah, well it's supposed to be louder, right? Like this is your first, like everybody's together, the orchestra's with you, or the piano, however you think about it. This is your big moment. Like, you know, like, what do you think of when you think this big, like, fairies or like angry Russian people or like, I don't know.
Honestly, don't know.
Okay, so I just, everybody can think whatever they want. I used to always, I think probably one of my teachers told me this, but like, think of like, you know, like, think of like the people that lived in like Siberia or something, like you envision, at least from like animated movies or something, you know, like these big guys wearing all furs, there's a lot of heft and they're cranky and, you know, you just want to to be like an etude. So I think you can like really go for it there. Yeah, and don't let the air kind of back off in between each note. We just want the air to be constant and your tongue is just interrupting it. And that's going to make it sound more hefty. Okay, that was good. Two things. The dynamics change a lot in this, like pretty much every line. And I know, ignore me if this is not what your teacher said, but it doesn't get softer through that whole thing. Can you flutter tongue?
Not pretty well.
It doesn't matter. It's just kind of a point. So we're gonna try and do this slowly. Try and flutter tongue through it because you have to use a lot of air. Keep it going. That's another way to practice air stuff. Just do a little bit. It could be slow. Yeah, it does it. It's just an idea. So don't worry if you miss it. Try it one more time. I want you to use so much air your horn falls to pieces. Yeah, so that's like another way to practice stuff instead of just doing breathing exercises all the time. But my point was, I think this whole first line, it can be a lot more sustained and a lot louder. So it just, we're not letting off on the gas at all. I'm trying to give that a dynamic. I'd give it like a mensa forte minus. Like real loud. Yeah, that volume is good. Now let's try and start here and keep it up that loud the whole first line and then drop back suddenly. You don't want a diminuendo at the end of the loud stuff because then you're like kind of giving away the surprise of, ooh, we're quiet now. Theoretically, you just want the ball to stay at the top until you pass out. So let's just try the soft thing and try and go a little slower just so we can work on here. When you go up for the high notes, I feel you being like, oh, we gotta go high now. And so there's kind of like a little bit of a hesitation. Just try and have it very, very smooth. Think that there aren't that many, it's not that big of a jump. Just think of your air going constant and you're just moving your fingers. That was so much better. Like, I don't know if that felt any different. There weren't like any little hitches. Because this piece is so long, it goes on for so long. It can get really like, da-da, da-da, da-da. You just want longer phrases. Try the same thing to pick up to 30. So So instead of da 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 da, think of your aiming for these big downbeats. So. You want to have an arrival. It's like a little bit of a crescendo through that measure before the half note or whatever it is. Okay, you can also, I take a breath there. You know, you can do whatever you want. This is your solo. You know, and you could breathe there too. Like you could breathe. As long as if you're gonna breathe, you really got to use that air that you took in. Because if it still is kind of mezzo forte, meh, then yes. One thing also, don't rush. You know, again with this like, you think of whatever. I'm just using this angry Russian thing. They're not in a hurry. Like we're starting to kind of push ahead. Just start here to pick up to that measure, and feel free to take your time. There's no rush. There's no like dog chasing you. You gotta go fast. You know, it's just, you know, it's calm. One thing, again, if your teacher tells you otherwise, ignore everything I said. Try to just trigger our melody to get there.
Something like F.
Yeah, we'll have the lower F beat up here, just to the timbre will kind of match a little more, and I think you might be able to get a little more volume on the bottom. But that needs to be, that measure is kind of like big arrival because things are changing. You've been doing this da 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 da, you know, for a while. So make that a big moment. You really gotta blow through it, like. Okay, the same thing applies with the octaves and that F going up to the A. The note before the high note is the most important. You can really kind of use that to kind of like trampoline bounce yourself up, because if you keep it all the same, like air and volume and stuff, it's not really gonna work. It's kind of like if you're driving a car up a hill, you have to give it more gas, I think. But like you could really dig into it. So those low notes, that might sound like obnoxiously loud, but out in the hall they'll just sound even. So try just the octaves. You can do even more. Yeah, and now we're gonna apply the same thing to the. Like I didn't play that A very loud, but I just bounced right up there because I nailed the stink out of that F. Yeah, try it one more time and even go after the F before the A even more. This applies to so much stuff, like especially Strauss 1 when you have to go to the B flats. It's always an F before it. And just, you know, if you could really, especially if you're tired or something or you're nervous, if you can really aim for that note before it, usually you're going to be just fine when you go up. Try one more time. Yeah, that was great. And it sounded like you weren't even trying. Like it just popped right out. Yeah, so try and use that amount of air and that constant stream of air all the time. Yeah, because this sounds great. Just break the wall behind you. Yeah, great job.
second class in the afternoon. Dr. Ganong is doing a masterclass in the choir room for trumpet players. If you want to go check that out, I'm sure that will be